Hello, everyone. So, I haven't been sober for 365 days consecutively. And since I was 18. And although when I was 18, 19, early 20, I was smoking, right? A tree. I didn't start drinking until end of 2021. I still wasn't sober. And the reason why I am making this video is to hold myself accountable because I do want to. I'm 28. Like, I want to have 365 days of sobriety without any alcohol. I don't smoke anymore, but I don't want to drink anymore. And although I don't drink like I used to at all, I still partake every 3, 4 months, maybe 2, 3 times. And when I do it, it doesn't make my body feel good. I don't feel good. And the problem though is I do it in social settings because it makes me feel like, when they say, oh, you can only have fun if you have some liquor or if you drink. I feel really awkward. Like, I feel more normal when I'm under the influence. And I think a lot of people can say that, right? Like, that's why we do it, because it temporarily relaxes you. And although it temporarily relaxes you, when that dopamine is gone, you crash and you get major anxiety because it's not good for you. And that's what it does to me. It causes me incredible anxiety. And I'm gonna give you guys a little backstory, right? When I was in college, I had your typical college experience. I moved out, I went to university, I was, partying and drinking and taking exams, 2 hours of sleep, still hungover or drunk, honestly. And I was, when I, the way I learned how to consume it was really heavy because of that whole party scene. And so I did that almost every weekend, if not every weekend, in college. And after, when I graduated, I moved to Nevada. So that was an extra 2 years, right? Although I was never a club person, I liked bars. I liked bars. I liked the chill scene. Beer was like my choice. And so I would still go though to a bar and still black out. And this was happening when I ended up moving to Nevada every fucking weekend, every weekend. And when I came back for the whole year, it was still happening until I left a relationship. And so years passed, like 3 years later, 4 years later, 3 years later now, we're here. I have been pursuing this, journey of, or wanting to pursue this journey of sobriety. Some people might say California sober because I do want to start microdosing again, but 365 days, I might not. I might completely cut out even caffeine. I've stopped taking pre-workout, and I've said this before, just because it fucks with my nervous system. And again, although I don't drink like I used to, because for the past 3 to 4 years, I've been wanting to stop. I've been wanting to let it go. And my body just doesn't react to it the way it. How do I put this? My body lets me know, my soul lets me know when it is time to let go of something, when it is time to move past something. And so let's tie this into my spiritual healing journey, finding myself and all this stuff, right? Healing. When I was in college, I was obviously in an energy and a vibration of sadness and discovering who I was. And during this time, I was still raving. I started raving in 2016, 2015, 2016. And raving was a form of liberation for me, right? I started doing it when it was still Plur, and I love music. And, you would go and take substances or just get drunk. I haven't taken party favors in a very long time. That's another story for another time. But my body was telling me, don't do that anymore. And so I stopped. When my body tells me not to do things, it's very, very loud and very apparent. And so I go cold turkey a lot of the times when I do stuff. And so in my not even my early 20s, in my 20s, even before 20, 18, all the way up until I'm 28 now. And I still go to little raves here and there, but the raving was up until 26, end of 26, and it was a big part of my life. The dancing, the music, the drinking. It was a way for me to feel connected to the people around me, to my body, to just be fucking free. And when I started discovering myself and healing, I started to get this inner feeling, inner knowing that I need to stop drinking, which is crazy because I need to stop going to raves too. And I never thought that this would have been something that I wanted to do. But then again, I believe it's because I am, like I said, pursuing my master's. And after that, I want to pursue further schooling. And so, I spent my 20s discovering myself, finding myself, and the things that once felt good, the things that I was once doing for that version of Irene that needed it. No, I no longer need it. She doesn't need it anymore. I don't need it anymore. Those things made me feel good. But I've evolved. You know how I talk about letting things go? We gotta let go of the versions of us. And I always say this, that survived so we can thrive. And she was in survival mode, right? She was definitely still discovering this whole, what this world is in the very beginnings of it, and who I was, who she was. And many years later, as I started to really have these experiences and awakenings and finding myself in the hard days and working through and loving myself deeply through everything, through my own wounds and showing up for myself, I started to feel a mismatch with drinking. I started to get this again 3 to 4 years ago, this feeling like I want to stop. And that was another reason why I left a previous relationship, because the life that I saw, and I'm very grateful for this person, as I've said previously, but the life that I saw that they were playing or living wasn't the life that I wanted to live. And so, that was one of the reasons why I ended up leaving too. And even now, though, like I said, I don't drink that often, but if I'm in a social setting, I will. But because the way that I learned how to do it was partying, I will drink a lot. And I have ADHD and I'm neurodivergent, and so when I drink, I get very hyper and I get very like, fuck it, let's party. And I don't want to do that because when I wake up, I feel like shit. I feel like shit. I have anxiety and I'm on a journey of healing my nervous system, of healing my anxiety. I did the mental inner work of that, and now and maybe this will be a video for another time, but now I'm really focused on my anxiety, on my nervous system. I'm in a different chapter of my life now. That's why I actually got a stim-free pre-workout today, because the caffeine in pre-workout it doesn't make me feel good. And I remember I've been saying this too, that I was going to stop, and I stopped for a few months and then I start again, and then I stop for a few months and I start again. And that's the problem. I start because I forget how it makes me feel, and I want to completely do 365 days and eventually create this, maybe for the rest of my life, maybe bridge this off for the rest of my life. I don't know. And there's nothing wrong, right, with indulging in this human experience. I'm not one of those people who are going to say, oh, like, if you're spiritual, you're not supposed to do this. No, everybody's journey is their journey. Everybody's journey is their journey. And for me, I know that I need to listen to my body. And this is what my body is telling me. And I will say, when I was in my 20s, getting blacked out, I was having awakenings and I was finding myself. But the thing about that, as I've said, right, the alcohol energy was here and my energy was here. When I started to heal myself, the alcohol no longer, like, it didn't align with me anymore. And I felt it. I felt it so fucking much. And the thing, though, that was crazy about this is I felt like people around me didn't understand. And that's okay. I get it. And I think that's why I would give into social settings, because, I don't know, it made me feel it was better to do it than to have people around you who didn't get it. And I'm not saying people pressured you, because people don't, but at the same time, it's enticing, I guess. And I would say it, to own up to my own actions, to take ownership. it was hard because, or there's a challenge because of my own willpower. And I started thinking how people who, you know, are on their sobriety journey, how they're strong, how they are so strong. Because I'm not, uh, even something as little as this, going out in society or in social situations and social settings and wanting to fit in or wanting to feel normal, I suppose. It's it's enticing, as I said. Like it's a little challenging to say no, and found that challenging, and I've done that a few times, but after a while I always end up saying fuck it, whatever. And that is, I have to own up to that, right? And so I think people who really are on the sobriety journey are really fucking strong. They have so much power, so much willpower, and I'm in awe. I put into such a perspective because, like I said, these past 3 4 years, I've been trying to do it for a whole year, and I just keep, the longest I went was like 6 months, and then I'm like, fuck it, I'll do it. And like I said, I don't do it every weekend. Like I'll do it, and then I will probably wait 2 3 months and do it 2 times, 3 times, and 4 months, whatever it is. Like it'll be time in between, but at the same time, it is still, I still do it, and I just don't want to anymore. I just don't want to, right? It has a lot of effects, negative effects on the body, on the brain, on your nervous system, on the skin, on everything. And I just really want to prove to myself that I can do it for 365 days. I'm sorry, I could do it for 365 days. The last time I drank was 2 days ago at the Orange County Fair. So this is day 2 on my sobriety journey. And, I believe that it comes in all levels. And again, for those who are really on this journey, who had a battle with it, more props to you, right? You are such a strong person. You are so strong. But again, like I said, I'm making this video to hold myself accountable, because, again, to take ownership, to take responsibility. There you go. I was thinking of the word, to take responsibility of my own actions. I need to have stronger willpower, and I need to understand and really confront the idea of wanting to feel normal around people. And it's conflicting because I'm somebody who will always be myself and who doesn't give a shit, but at the same time, when other people are drinking and are having fun, I think it is that construct of, oh, well, you're missing out. And I think it's FOMO, maybe, and it's something that I have to understand. And it dives into another conflict, as I was talking about, like the conflict within myself of raving. After I met my boyfriend, we met at a rave, we met at EDC. We both, it was crazy the way that it worked out, and I really do believe it's because, or I know it's because we were supposed to meet. And there's so many things that dive into meeting this person in my life, but the moment we met, we both kind of just, and we've been raving for the same amount of times. We're ravers, right? It just vibed like that. And the moment we met, we've slowly both been pulling back, and we've been looking at each other and saying, this does not feel, it's not fun, it doesn't hit. And we sit with each other and we talk about our future, not only together, but our own separate goals. And it is bittersweet, I would say, rather than a conflict. It is bittersweet because I'm releasing the old version of me, and he's releasing the old version of him. And it's beautiful because we can see two souls coming together, evolving together, right? And it's crazy how that happens, and it's so beautiful. But at the same time, this was something that music and raving and in that environment healed the both of us. Obviously, we're on our separate journeys, but it was very similar in that sense. We healed so much in raving. And to go on a little tangent, my boyfriend, he saw me a few times at a rave, and years, right? And he would tell me, he's like, I remember seeing you, you wore this. And so it's just, the atmosphere of that was so tethered within us, to know that we both are doing the inner work and growing, that this part of us is just like, no, the universe or spirit, God, your highest self, your soul, your body is saying no more. You talk about wanting to discover yourself more, or wanting to create a stable, emotionally fulfilled life and continuing school. You know what you have to do. You've been getting the inner call this whole time to stop, right? Because there's a version of you who is so empowered that you switch out, right? All this, the caffeine, the alcohol, for I now take L-theanine and magnesium glycinate, right? Glycinate, I think that's how you say it. And I'm doing things that calm myself, drinking chamomile tea, which is crazy because to heal your nervous system, to feel safe, right? Healing trauma is about feeling safe again. You have to have repetitive, safe repetitive actions or things in your everyday. You got to do things on repetition that make you feel safe. Does that make sense? That was for some reason a tongue twister, or I couldn't say that. You have to do things that make you feel safe, and so taking the pre-workout was still keeping me in survival mode. Drinking was still keeping me in survival mode. Definitely, the anxiety is, and if you guys have anxiety, then you know what I'm talking about. It feels like impending doom. Impending doom. It is the worst feeling in the world. And that didn't start until I started to really grow out of the situations and environments that I knew intuitively I didn't want to be in. I was just kind of tethered to it, right? Tethered to it because that's what that version of me who was surviving, who was finding herself, was doing. And so now when I'm, right, like, I was so tethered and so inside of it that little by little I'm kind of drifting further away from it these past 3-4 years, and I see myself slowly changing and leaving it behind more and more and more. And so I think the final step is really saying, okay, well, I'm going to do 365 days. I'm going to hold myself accountable and I'm going to do it. And I owe this to myself. I owe this to the little me. I owe this to future me, right? I owe this to the me that wants to go to that is going to grad school, that wants to gain all this knowledge so I can help people, right? And so if I'm going to grad school, clinical mental health counseling, who would I look like? Still ingesting a pre-workout that makes me paranoid or panic, and taking drinking that makes me anxious. If I'm helping people and talking to them about self-care, well, I gotta lead by example. I gotta do that too. And I've always been somebody who has always tried to lead by example. That was a phrase that I've lived by when I was very, very, very young. Actually, my dad would tell me that, to lead by example. All the things that my dad put me through, there was a lot of good things that I got from him, and it was lead by example. And so that always stuck with me, to lead by example. And I've always known that, like I've said to you guys before, I need to do stuff, because if I don't go on this journey myself, how am I going to know how to help people? And that's how I connect, is doing the hard thing, right? How can I sit there and help somebody through my degree overcome their own substances if I'm not even doing this? If I choose to ignore it and continue to conform instead of facing this challenge in my life and doing it, right? And actually doing it. So that's how I connect, is taking part in things so I can understand people. And again, I'm very grateful that it can be a lot worse, definitely, but at the same time, it's something that I want to stop doing. So then stop doing it. Stop giving in. Have more willpower. Have grace for yourself. I'm very compassionate and I love myself, but you have to be tough too. Tough love. Compassionate, tough love, I guess. It's not guilting myself or shaming myself, but it is saying, you know what? This is what you want to do. Lock in and do it. Right? I know that it might be difficult at times. And if you don't feel normal, this is where the compassion comes in social situations. I can tell myself during that time that, you know what? I don't need to be normal. I am me. I am authentically me, and I love me. And I'm so used to the high energy of being outside and, under the influence, because my life, like the chaotic energy, I'm so used to the chaotic, and being under the influence gives me that chaotic energy because I get really hyper and really fun and really happy and just like, and no, be bored, be still. You don't need to have this energy. Be with yourself and see what that does for you, right? Let go of the chaotic energy and hold yourself accountable. And so, yes, that's why I'm making this video, because I've said I wanted to do this many times before and I don't do it. So, this is what we're doing. And I will let you guys know. I will catch you guys up on how it goes and any challenges that I have. But as of now, I've gotten to the point to where it makes me feel like shit so much that I just don't want to do it anymore. Even having a beer or 2 beers makes me feel really, it does not make me feel good at all. I get the worst headache, and I hydrate. I get the worst headache. I get the worst anxiety. I don't feel inside my body, and that's crazy because the girl who was once in college would have never said that. But that's growth, and I'm very proud of myself for that. And it's maturity. It's maturity, and I can see that in myself. And I'm very excited for this next chapter of my life because there's so many good things that are coming in. Domino effect. Because again, I didn't give up after all these years. Everything fucking makes sense all of a sudden. Because I didn't give up, right? All my the fruits of my labors are being shown. And I'm really grateful for forward movement and where my life is going, because the last 2-3 years it wasn't going anywhere. I mean, it was internally, but physically it took me a long time to get here. So I'm really grateful, and leaving this behind is part of me moving forward. And maybe it didn't happen before because I wasn't ready. I thought I was, and I kept trying, but I wasn't. So me leaving this behind is me moving forward in the next part of my journey. And how exciting is that? But yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about. I love you guys so much. Thank you for listening to my video. I will see you guys next video, and have an amazing day.